I have been sitting here for about 10 minutes talking and trying to figure out how I want to start this video or what I'm going to say, how I'm going to structure it, and it's just going to happen the way it happens. This is going to be a lot more like a podcast. We're just going to be sitting here talking like this because this is an important video. At least it is for me. It might be for some of you, especially if you've been here for a while. But at the time of uploading this video, this is going up in just a few days on the 31st. That's my 10-year anniversary of starting this YouTube channel. The very first video was actually about this M6 here. That went up 10 years ago in 2014. And I've known this date has been approaching, and I've been trying to figure out how I want to make this video, and I've just been putting it off until the very end of the month where I have no other choice, but I need to make the video now, which is why we're doing it this way. Hopefully you like this format where my plan is I have a few topics, some different things I want to talk about in regards to being on YouTube, having a YouTube channel, it becoming a job, plans for the future. We're just going to go through these topics one by one, and I'm just going to kind of riff off the cuff and talk about each thing, good and bad, about everything. And yeah, we'll get into it. Big thanks to KEH Camera for sponsoring this video. I'll tell you about them and sponsorships in general on YouTube in a little bit. But first, let's just kind of look back. So May of 2014, I uploaded the video on my M6. This was like 2 weeks after I had just gotten married. So Molly and I also just celebrated our 10-year wedding anniversary, which is crazy because like marriage and starting a family and everything, those are such big like life changes and you change so much. So the idea that I've been in front of the camera this whole time and like looking back and just seeing myself change, it's weird. It's so weird. But May of 2014, I wanted to start a YouTube channel just to kind of fill a little bit of a void where I was looking for information on certain film cameras and I would find like a PDF file of the manual to that camera, but I wanted to like actually see one being used, learn how you load the film, what kind of battery does it take, what kind of lenses are available. I just wanted to like be able to see that and actually get some like real world kind of practical information on like current day use, you know. And there were a lot of like forums and stuff. I would find threads on different cameras if I was looking up, trying to find out, you know, more information on a camera that I just saw. I would stumble upon some like forum threads, and those were always helpful. But again, I just wanted to see it. And so all of those early videos are just me. All of the cameras I had at that point, I was like, I'll just make a video about each of these so that if anyone ever looks, like they'll know exactly how to load the film, all of that stuff. Which is funny because in all of those videos, it's just, you know, me showing the camera. I didn't share any of my photos in the early videos because I didn't think it mattered. Like I didn't think anyone would want to see any of those. It wasn't until people started commenting like, you should really show the photos for these. I didn't get at the time, like why, like I understand now YouTube and photography YouTube now versus 2014 is so different, but I didn't have a plan when I started the channel. I had no goals or I didn't think it was actually going to go anywhere or grow really. I just thought if it's helpful in a search result, you know, cool. But over time, just continuing to make videos about different cameras and just trying to share all of the information I had at the time, like anything I had possibly learned, just being able to share it. You know, the channel slowly grew over time, and that is kind of like the whole trajectory of the channel for the last 10 years. Like there hasn't really been any sort of like spikes where it's like I had one video do really, really well and then it grew, or I don't know, like that happens all the time on YouTube, especially nowadays, but it was just very slow and steady for the last 10 years. Like it's never spiked, it's never taken a dip or gone down. It's just really slowly continued to grow over the last 10 years. Like I've never had the biggest channel. I've never had the most views on my videos. I don't have any like viral videos or anything. All of my videos have been very kind of just modest and like slow and steady. You know what I mean? It's obviously grown each year, but by just very small percentages. And the videos that I make have pretty much always just been, it's like a video journal in a way where I'm just kind of sharing, here's what I'm shooting right now, here's what I'm into. If I get to try out any new cameras and stuff, like that's a bonus, obviously, but it's really been just pretty simple. And, you know, my photography, I think, is very simple. And I try to keep my day-to-day life very simple. That's just kind of the speed I operate. And, you know, I'm a dad in Southern Ohio. I'm not in New York or LA or any of these big hubs where there's like tons of things to see all the time and tons of photography, like culture around and arts. And it's very different here where I'm at. And I love where I'm at. That's been like a ongoing theme of all of these videos is just me kind of showing my love of my hometown, this kind of like simpler, quieter kind of life and just surroundings. Like that's what I love so much about it. And I guess I say all of that because it's insane to me that people watch these videos at all. It's something I don't think I'll ever like understand because I'm still here feeling that way 10 years later. I understand YouTube a little bit more, but I'm still very much like, I don't know what I'm doing, dude. I'm trying to share whatever I feel like sharing at the time, and that's pretty much it. I think had I had a more thought out strategy or plan in place, maybe it wouldn't be as slow and steady. There might have been some spikes in there in terms of growth, but like that's never been why I want to make YouTube videos, and that's never been the goal. It's just been really, I think I've followed it and stuck with it over time because it's kind of given me the kind of life I would want to live, in all honesty. And we'll talk about that in a different topic, but over the years, working different jobs, doing photography, working for my dad, taking over that business, all of the different things I've done, YouTube has always just kind of been this little side thing that I would just continue doing while I was working all of these other things and just, you know, living life and growing a family. Like so much life outside of just making YouTube videos has happened. And it's like a very small portion of my life. But in terms of me and like my relationship with any of you who watch these videos, this is like our only shared thing. Like what I share here, that's all you've got. And I have tried to share a lot over the years just for the sake of like transparency and I think relatability. Like that's how I relate with people, is like I understand where they're at in life and what they're doing and what their experiences are and what, you know, things have happened that suck. Like all of these different things that shape a person. I've tried to share that for the sake of like, I want you to actually know me if you're watching these videos. And I was talking about this with my friend Tyler. He watched my videos before he moved to Chillicothe back in 2021, somewhere around there. He moved from Texas and he had watched my videos before, and he and I were talking about it the other day. I'm like, you've gotten to know me like closely over the last few years. Before that, you had watched my videos and you had seen me a bunch through that, but what was it like meeting me in person and getting to know me versus what you saw on camera? Was there like a disconnect? Was it different at all? And he was like, no, it felt exactly like watching your YouTube videos. And that's what people tell me when they meet me. But I often just think like, yeah, I don't know, maybe you get that. Like, I'm very skeptical because I don't know how I come across on camera. And, you know, I don't, like, I edit all of my videos and I watch all of my videos in that process and I see myself and I still feel like, is that really me? Like, am I changing at all? Am I doing anything different? And I mean, some things I do differently. I try to make a little bit of sense when I'm talking, and I try to see, this is what I'm talking about with, you know, not knowing how I'm going to structure this video. I'm just going off on tangents, but it's just crazy how much YouTube has impacted my life and the amount of people I've met who have watched these videos, the friends I've made through making these videos, the jobs I've had. I've traveled across the country to photograph weddings for photographers that know me from watching these videos. The places, the people, everything about it, it's just crazy. And for me, always wanting to be behind the camera and never in front of it, it was genuinely something I never saw myself doing. So to see me still doing it 10 years later, it shocks me personally, because I definitely didn't think the channel would grow to where it's at. I never thought I would be still doing it 10 years later. It's crazy. And YouTube is so different now than it was years ago. I guess we can talk about that. Social media in general, not just YouTube, but all of it was so different in 2014 versus where it is now. The idea of starting a YouTube channel now, if I had never started one before, I think that just from not only doing it, but from seeing YouTube channels overall and like how things are structured and how there's a format, and I feel like I would maybe have more insight now if I were to start a YouTube channel. I mean, I definitely would. There are so many YouTube channels now, like not just in photography. In general, there are so many YouTube channels, but in photography and even film photography specifically, like it's all over the place, which is not a bad thing at all. But the idea of starting one and figuring out like how to stand out, I don't know. It's crazy. And I don't want to dissuade anybody from starting a YouTube channel. If anything, I want to encourage people to start a YouTube channel if they're hesitant about it, because it's changed my life. But I don't envy people who are starting from zero right now, because I feel like it's, I don't know, the accessibility and the information that's out there now. There are so many different things you can have in your back pocket right when you get started. So maybe that would be helpful, but I don't know. It's super, super saturated. I think as long as people are doing something interesting to them and they're not trying to like follow a template, you can have a lot of information on how to grow a YouTube channel. But if you're just doing the same thing as everybody else, I mean, I don't think I should be the, one guiding people on how to grow a YouTube channel like we've talked about, but all of the YouTube channels I regularly watch, I watch for the people making them, for the way that they present it, because it's not the same thing as everybody else. Just have fun and make what you want to make. Don't try to like follow the template or do what everyone else is doing, and whether it's photography or anything at all, whatever you're interested in, have fun, make what you want to make. Just keep your head down and like focus on what you're doing. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Comparing yourself to other channels and the growth and the numbers and all of that stuff, like that affects everybody at some point. I've gotten stuck in that loop where I'm like seeing other people's videos or other channels that are just like skyrocketing, and I would just sit there and think like, what am I doing wrong? Why am I not doing this like how this person's doing it? And over time, I just kind of learned like that's not gonna work. One, it's not gonna work to actually grow things if you're just trying to follow a template, at least in my opinion. If it is, you're growing an audience for something that isn't you. So what value is the audience if they're there for someone that isn't really there? Does that make sense? I don't know. Again, I am definitely not the person to give advice on growing YouTube channels. That's just how I feel about it. Probably sound like a grumpy old man now. I have no idea. There are some downsides to YouTube, some negatives for sure. There are pros and cons to all of it, just like anything else. The pros, I mean, just the fact that I'm able to do what I love and share what I love. Photos that I take for myself, but I'm able to share it with all of you. And because of this shared love and this, shared interest, like I never had that in terms of photography community. Like around here, I wasn't hanging out with other photographers. I didn't know really any other photographers, like on a personal level. I didn't talk about photography with anybody else. And the YouTube channel, just being able to connect with so many people and meet and talk to so many people over the years, it's truly given me like a sense of community that just didn't exist before that. I've been able to travel and go to events and do all sorts of things I never thought I would do. People that stumble across my videos that I would have never imagined it would happen. Like, it's crazy to see. Ray Barbie, who's on a print back here, one of my all-time favorite skaters, and he reached out one day because he was, watching a video about me pushing HP5, and he had a question about developer. I had never talked to Ray Barbie before because he's Ray Barbie, and what business do I have? And that one exchange, that turned into a friendship, and now Ray is one of those people that, like, on a holiday, on Christmas or Thanksgiving or whatever it may be, I always expect a text from Ray because he's that kind of person that will text his friends and tell them, hey, Merry Christmas to you and the family. Just little things like that. I could go all day about how Ray is just genuinely one of the nicest dudes I've ever met, but that's something that just blew my mind that, me, a kid in Southern Ohio who was never great at skateboarding. I was always taking the photos and filming. The skateboarders and photographers I've been able to meet and become friends with, it's just insane. And people who tell me, oh yeah, I've seen your videos, it's crazy. Like, I got tagged 1,000,000 times on Instagram a while back on a post from Mia Khalifa because she had bought a K1000 and she posted a video of her holding the camera, and then it kind of tilts up and she's watching my YouTube video on that camera to learn about it. The random people who have seen my YouTube videos is just wild, but the people I've met and the friendships I've made, that's by far the best aspect of all of this, is just the connection with people. Now, the downsides to YouTube, or the negative things, we've all seen the comments. No, I'm lucky that my comments are always pretty good. It's mostly just people who know me and know these videos. If it's a video about a Leica camera, I know what to expect. I know what the comments are going to be. But occasionally you'll just catch a random comment from someone that you've never met this person. You don't know their real name, what they look like, what kind of background they have, or what kind of knowledge they have. You have no idea. And they will say some of the wildest things you could ever imagine. And those are always the ones you remember. 3,000 positive comments and one negative comment. You're going to remember that one negative comment, like word for word, all of the specifics. They can cut deep at times, but over the years, I've gotten much better about it, and I kind of understand it. It is what it is. Like, that's just what people are going to do. They need an outlet, a punching bag. They need to get whatever it is that they're dealing with out, and they're going to find a target, and that's fine, whatever. People can just like make up their own sort of world or scenario. Like we were talking about earlier, me and the viewer, this is what we've got. We've got this video right here, and this is it. Where everything else that happens when I stop recording and everything else in my life, like, you kind of have to fill in the blanks. And the way some people feel as if they have like a very concrete idea and like understanding of who you are on every level, and it's just wild and so awkward. But hey, that's part of the game. It's part of the job. Speaking of which, making money from the YouTube channel or having it become like a real job was never something I ever expected. I didn't think it was possible. I didn't know how it all worked, but now I'm at a point where this is my full-time job now. I'm no longer doing weddings or all of that kind of work that I did before. I'm just focusing on these YouTube videos. And of course, like personal photography, I kind of have all of these different things that I just add up together to, that's how I make my living. It's not just one specific thing. So with the YouTube channel, it's ad revenue, which is very little, and sponsorships. Any prints I sell, photo books I publish, got a new book out now. If you're interested, there's a link down below. All of these different things that I do for a living, it all goes towards my income and my family. Like, I'm providing for myself, my wife, and our 3 kids now, which is never something I ever would have thought is possible. And in terms of like percentage wise and how all of this works, I'll be very transparent. The big, like, mass majority chunk of that income is from sponsorships, and it's gonna continue being from sponsorships. Self-publishing books and making prints, all of that stuff is very expensive. That's not how I make my living. It's through these YouTube sponsorships. And because of this YouTube channel and what I do, I'm able to do these personal projects and just make things because I want to make them. The YouTube videos, the ad revenue, if I was relying solely on ad revenue and views, I would not be doing YouTube for a living. If it was where it's at right now, there's no way it would work at all. The sponsorships are where I can really make the most money and provide for my family. And some people will be kind of high and mighty about sponsorships and view it as like they would never stoop so low as to have a sponsor on their YouTube channel. And more power to you. Do it however you want to do it. For me, it's the only way I can make this work for myself, and that's the whole reason I do it. Without sponsors, my life would look totally different. And I don't just mean, being able to make YouTube videos for a living. I would not have the day-to-day life outside of, YouTube and filming these videos. That life would be completely different and not a life that I would want. It's not just paying groceries and bills and mortgage and all of these things. It's giving me the life of I'm here at home all of the time. Me, my wife, our 3 kids, my brother, all of us are here all of the time together. And my kids are 9, almost 8, and 2. This is time that I am never going to get back, and it's going to be time that I miss. I already miss when my 2 oldest kids were as old as my youngest. Like, it all goes so fast, and because of my job and what I do, I'm always here. I can work from home. If my daughter needs me, who has disabilities, if I need to take a break or go do anything for her, I'm there. My brother is a quadriplegic. If he needs anything at any given time, I'm able to be there no matter what it is because I'm here. I don't have a set schedule. I have the flexibility of being able to be here when I'm needed, but also just to appreciate it. Both of my parents, from the moment they retired, they continued working and they worked long hours every day. I was not with my parents 24/7 the way my kids are with me. I'm here for them. They're here for me as well. We're always together. And how I spend my day-to-day life, like what my life looks like, get to spend all of my time with my family. I get to make photos that I want to make just for myself. I'm not being assigned to a job to go take photos of something. I'm just making photos I want to make. And I get to share this like love for photography through these YouTube videos. And for me, like weighing out the cost of all of this, being able to have this kind of life that I love, and I tell you about, a service or a product that I already use or believe in. I tell you about it for about 60 seconds a few times a month. I genuinely believe in any of the sponsors I work with. I turn down 99% of the sponsorship offers that I get. I don't know. People have a lot of feelings about sponsorships and things like that. I just know I wouldn't be able to live the life I have or make the videos I make without sponsorships. So I don't know. That's just the reality of it. And people ask about, doing it for a living and things like that. That's all I got, really. I guess now that you know how it works, I'll go ahead and pay some bills and let you know about the sponsor of this video, KEH Camera. For over 40 years, KEH has been buying, selling, and trading used photography gear. This is gear that was going to be ending up in a landfill, but now it can have a second life. You can always save plenty of money when you're buying pre-owned gear. I highly recommend you do that anytime you're looking for gear, and do it with KEH. Their inventory is massive. Always a very thorough grading system, so you know exactly what kind of condition you're going to get on the gear that you decide to purchase. Plus, with a 21-day return policy, a 180-day warranty included, you can buy with peace of mind no matter what condition you're looking for. If you have gear you want to sell, you can sell with KEH. You can actually just get an instant quote on their website or schedule a call with someone from KEH so they can take a proper look at all the gear, give you the most up-to-date and accurate estimate. Whether you're looking to buy or sell gear, do it with KEH. I'll have links and codes down below. You can use these links to support the channel at no extra cost to you, but you can also use the codes to save yourself some money or get a bonus on your quote. So thank you again to KEH Camera for sponsoring this video. But how long can I really do this? Like how much more do I have in me? It's been 10 years. That's a long time. Every year, I kind of have this feeling of like, well, this is probably it. Like this is this is probably the last year I'm going to be able to do this. I'm going to need to do something else next year. Like, because of sponsorships, these are year-long contracts that I have with my sponsors, at least, my main sponsors. At the end of the year, they could just be like, well, hey, it's great working with you. We're done, and at that point, I would need to start figuring out, okay, what's next? And that day could come. Like, for the last 4 years, every year I have that feeling like, well, this is it. And then I renew for another year and I think, cool, I got one more year. Like, I look at it just as far as that. I think I would still make videos when I can if it wasn't my job, but time is very scarce in my life, and I would obviously need to spend time working if I wasn't doing this. I would need to, spend time working doing something completely different. And that's fine. Like, I've looked at it all these years, and I just think the fact that I've been able to do this for any amount of time for a living is incredible. And I know at some point, someday, it's going to stop and I'm going to be doing something completely different. This was never a plan from the start. This just kind of happened and over time slowly grew. I think I'm just going to keep riding it until the wheels fall off, basically. Like, until I'm unable to do this for a living and provide for my family, I'll just keep doing it, because no matter what, I know I'm always going to love photography and I'm always going to have this passion to share it. And that's why I've continued to do these videos for so long. But what other job could I possibly have that gives me the ability to just be here with my family? Like, the freedom and flexibility that it gives me, no other job, no matter what the pay is, could even compete with that. So my only real plan for the future is to just keep going. How long? As long as I possibly can. If anything, I just want to make the videos better than they already are. I'm going to be working with my friend Tyler on filming and editing as well. He and I have worked on videos together before. Now we're looking at something that's going to be a much more consistent basis, so I won't be editing and filming all of my videos myself anymore. 10 years in, I think I'm ready to kind of let go a little bit, but I'm just going to keep doing exactly what I've been doing and try to just make it a little bit better, but I'm just going to keep at it and enjoy it, slow and steady, as always. So I have no idea how long this video is going to end up being. If you've made it this entire time, I don't know, go treat yourself today. You've earned it sitting through this one. I appreciate all of you who have been here with me for this video for the last 10 years, or if you've just found the channel, yesterday. I appreciate you. I'm happy you're here. And as I've stated, I literally have everything, and thanks to you guys. So appreciate you all. I love you guys very much, and I'll see you soon.